In the last video, we looked at what is really the heart of the SAW sound generation, the oscillators. Now, even though the oscillators are what create the sound, that sound on its own will most likely lack the shine that you desire. To really make the oscillators break through, we need to run them through a few more controls. The first of these controls is the filter. In the dead middle of the instrument interface is the filter section. The filter is a multi-mode filter. You can select the desired filter mode with the appropriately labeled mode knob. There are 4 modes you can choose from. Low pass 24, this mode will reduce any frequencies that are above the cutoff point. Set with the cutoff control using a 24 dB slope. The low pass filter works in much the same way, except using a 12 dB slope. The high pass filter works in the opposite manner and reduces all the frequencies below the cutoff point. The bandpass filter reduces any frequencies to either side of the cutoff point. The resonance control adds a slight boost to the cutoff frequency. The keyboard tracking control determines how the frequency of the note played can influence the cutoff frequency. If set to 0%, then the cutoff frequency is static. Moving it all the way to 100% will allow the cutoff frequency to alter its value based on the note played. But not only is the pitch of the note played from your MIDI controller the only thing that can influence the cutoff frequency setting. You can also use the velocity tracking control to allow how hard you play the notes on your controller to influence the cutoff frequency. The filter is also equipped with a standard ADSR envelope. These envelopes are typically used to control the amplitude of levels of sound over time. However, in this section, they'll be used to control how the filter is applied to the sound over time. To apply this envelope to the filters, you must first increase the amplitude slider and set the destination knob to cutoff. This will then allow the envelopes to automate the cutoff frequency of the filter. The level set by the amplitude section determines the strength of the envelope that is applied to the filter. For sake of demonstration, I will set this value to 100%. The first parameter of the envelope is the attack. This determines how fast the cutoff frequency is altered once the key is struck. Listen as I increase this value. At shorter values, there is very little change in the cutoff frequency. As I increase the decay, the filter's cutoff frequency will begin to be automated after hitting a note on my controller, giving the filter a swell-in type effect. Higher values will produce a slow change of the cutoff over time. Once the attack has reached its peak level, it will begin to fall to its sustain level. The sustain level is the amplitude that is applied while the note is being held on your MIDI controller. Thus, in this case, the cutoff frequency value. The speed at which the envelope will go from its peak level to its sustain level is set by the decay value, which brings us to the sustain level. Again, use this slider to determine the cutoff frequency of the filter that is applied while holding down the key on your controller. Lastly, with the ADSR envelope, we have the release value. This value determines how fast the cutoff frequency of the filter will fall from the sustain value once you have released the key on your MIDI controller. Now, with this example, I demonstrated using the amplitude envelope to control the cutoff frequency of the filter. However, it is also possible to use the envelope to automate other parameters in SAW. By using the destination knob, we can select what we want the amplitude envelope to automate. We can automate the frequency sync control of the main oscillator. We can automate the phase relationship of the sub-oscillator. Or, my favorite, automate the master frequency of the main oscillator. While not entirely musical, it is still a lot of fun. And that concludes our look of the filter section in SAW. In the next video, we'll take a look at the third installment of the sound generation video, within which we'll begin our look at the LFO section.